Ahoj, já vás vítám u dalšího videa. Hello and welcome back. Today's video is going to be quite colorful, and I'm not only talking about colors, but events and topics I am going to talk about. In today's video, I'm going to talk a little bit about history, about culture, and of course, we'll also focus on language. It's the end of April. That means soon it will be the 1st of May, logically. And 1st of May is actually quite an important day in the Czech Republic. And I would like to talk about why it is so important for us. The 1st of May, 1. května, nebo 1. máj, the 1st of May, using the word máj as a more poetic term, is a national holiday. It's Labor Day since the 1890. Many of you probably know that this was related to the communist regime because the 1st of May was the most important holiday in the communist countries as the working class was on the rise and people were celebrating the meaning, the importance of work. During the communism, the Czech towns and villages would organize parades, big parades where everybody had to participate. The participation was obligatory and all the people gathered to celebrate. Svátek práce is Labor Day, the holiday of labor. And I'm going to teach you another term, prvomájový průvod, which comes from 1. máj, therefore prvomájový, this is an adjective, and what it means is exactly what you see in the pictures, is the parade on the 1st of May. Obviously, this is not happening anymore. After the year of 1989, the parades no longer take place. However, I would like to talk about something which is more up-to-date, has always been up-to-date, and that is May, as in the month of love in the Czech Republic. We could say that the 1st of May, 1. května, is the day of love. We call it in Czech svátek zamilovaných, the holiday of those in love. We could say it's our Czech Valentine's Day, because what is more romantic than the nature waking up and trees blooming, flowers blossoming, animals being born? Nature wakes up all together. And in May is where you can really see it. When you look at trees, for instance, we have all kinds of fruit trees that would be in bloom, cherry trees and apple trees. With the global warming, those trees would start blooming in April, but in May we can still find some blooming trees. And this takes me to a tradition that we have on the 1st of May. This is an unofficial holiday, of course, but it's a beautiful tradition that on the 1st of May, people who are in love would find a blooming tree, preferably a cherry tree, and they would kiss under it. This would be the representation of their love. Somehow, the Petřín Hill in Prague is very popular for this tradition. On the 1st of May, you can see a lot of couples kissing under a cherry tree or an apple tree because cherries would probably be no longer in bloom. So for us, the whole month of May is the month of love. And the 1st of May is the day of love. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about literature. All the Czechs would know the poet Karel Hynek Mácha. He was a poet and also a traveler, an enthusiastic walker who lived in the 19th century. He was born in 1890 and died in 1836, shortly before his 26th birthday, because of a mild form of cholera. You will see very soon why I'm bringing up this name. Karel Hynek Mácha was young, he was full of energy, he loved to walk. He even walked to Italy and back to Prague. And then on one of his journeys in the Czech Republic, then the Austro-Hungarian Empire, he was visiting the Czech town of Doksy, and he was listening to a story that his friend, an inn owner, was telling him. This was a tragic story that really happened in 1774, and it was about a man who killed his own father. and then he was executed. A truly tragic story. However, Karel Hynek Mácha decided to write a lyrical epic poem about it, which became very popular. Not while he was alive, of course, as it usually happens. So this lyrical epic poem was called May, and it's a very interesting poem, which is a combination of the lyrical, beautiful description of the spring nature versus the dramatic and pessimistic thoughts of a person who did something horrible. The poem story is based on a true story that happened in 1774, and as I mentioned. And in this poem, Karel Hynek Mácha writes about Willem, a young man who was actually a robber. He would rob people in the woods. He was a terrible lord of woods, and he was in love with a girl called Jarmila. But Jarmila was seduced by an older man who, of course, became Willem's rival. He decided to kill him. So he killed his rival to get rid of this love triangle, only to find out later that this rival was actually his own father, who left him when Willem was very young. So there was no way for him to know that this was his father. And then Willem is executed. But before that, on the 1st of May, as Jarmila is waiting for him to meet for their romantic date, he's waiting in the tower to be executed the next day and thinking about everything that happened and about what is going to happen when he leaves this world, etc. It's a very interesting poem, and you can actually read it in English as well. I recommend it. Anyway, this poem was published in 1836, shortly before Karel Hynek Mácha died. By the way, as I told you that he died of a mild form of cholera, but it was also a day before his wedding. A truly tragic story during the era of Romanticism. This poem, specifically the beginning of this poem, became a symbol for the 1st of May, the Day of Love, and so did Karel Hynek Mácha. You can actually see his statue on the Petřín Hill, which I previously mentioned. And in the next part of this video, I would like to show you the beginning of this poem, tell you what it means, and we're also going to analyze it a little bit. So far, I haven't really been talking about beautiful and romantic things related to the month of May, but that will change now. We will forget all about the pessimistic and burdensome feelings, and let's focus on this beautiful lyrical part of the poem May. It will be very interesting to analyze this for several reasons, because this poem is from the middle of the 19th century, and it's a poem, so the language is a little different. Then you might be asking, why am I going to speak about this when this language is slightly outdated? As I mentioned, this poem is very important in the Czech literature. I dare to say that every Czech person knows who Karel Hynek Mácha is, and they would be able to recite the beginning of this poem, because this is something that we would study at school, and we actually had to memorize these verses. We're going to read 8 lines in total. These are the first 4. I'm going to read it for you. Byl pozdní večer, první máj. Večerní máj, byl lásky čas. Hrdliččin zval ku lásce hlas, kde borový zaváněl háj. I am going to explain how the language works, but first I would like to read the English translation, the artistic translation, so you can also appreciate the melody of this. Late evening on the 1st of May, the twilight May, the time of love, meltingly called the turtle dove, where rich and sweet pine woods lay. And now let's translate it word by word. Let's find the subject and the predicate. Byl večer. Byl, it was, večer, the evening. Pozdní means late, from pozdě. The adverb pozdě means late, and pozdní is the adjective from this. So pozdní večer, the late evening. Here you have it. Pozdě, the adverb, pozdní. 1. máj, the 1st of May. And we are using the poetic word máj. Remember that the Czech month of May is květen, from kvést, to blossom. It was a late evening, the 1st of May. Večerní máj byl lásky čas. Our predicate byl, again, byl čas. It was time. It was time of love. Byl lásky čas. Remember, this is a poem. If in modern Czech I wanted to write this, I would say byl čas lásky. This is genitive case, and it would be, it was the time of love. It would go after čas. But byl lásky čas, it was love's time. Večerní máj, you probably recognize the word večer, which means evening. And again, we have an adjective from this, večerní, the evening May. So you see this adjective, pozdní, late, večerní, evening, the May's evening. It was time of love. Hrdliččin zval ku lásce hlas. Our predicate is zval, hlas is the subject. Hlas is voice. The voice was inviting, zval, from zvát. Zvát, to invite. Zval is the past. Hlas zval. The voice was inviting. And whose voice was it? Hrdliččin hlas. This is an interesting part. Hrdliččin is all the way here at the beginning, and hlas just went all the way to the end. Again, because it's a poem. So in normal circumstances, if this was not a poem and this was modern Czech, it would say hrdliččin hlas. Zval ku lásce, but then it doesn't rhyme here. Čas and hlas have to rhyme. And now, this mysterious word hrdliččin, where we pronounce ch, hrdliččin, a very beautiful word. This comes from hrdlička. Hrdlička is a turtle dove. Hrdlička. Hrdliččin hlas, the voice of turtle dove. This is a possessive name. Hrdlička, and we are talking about the voice hrdliččin hlas. You can review this topic in my video, Possessive Names in Real World. And now let's see, this turtle dove's voice was inviting for what? Ku lásce. Láska is love. Ku lásce. Ku is an archaic preposition k. We use k nowadays, and ku would be an archaic form and convenient in poem because it has one syllable versus 0 syllable. If we didn't have u, we would just say klásce. We would pronounce it as one word. But here we say ku lásce, so we don't lose the rhythm. Maybe you know that k goes with the dative case. Yes, láska, lásce is the dative case. The turtle dove's voice was inviting or was calling for love. And the last line from this part, kde boroví zaváněl háj. Our predicate is here, zaváněl, and subject is háj. Zavánět is a very beautiful form of the verb vonět. Vonět means when something smells nice. Zavánět is when something brings a little bit of this beautiful smell. So zavánět, when this smell is being carried to you. But not directly, just very, very little. So what is it that was bringing the nice smell? It was háj. Háj is grove. Maybe you know Háje in Prague, a metro station. And we even know what kinds of trees were growing in this grove. Boroví. Borovice means pine tree. So pine woods. Where pine woods were bringing their scent. This is where the turtle dove was calling for love. Let's see the other 4 lines. Ready for part 2? After that, this will be over, don't worry. First, I'm going to read this for you again. O lásce šeptal tichý mech. Kvetoucí strom lhal lásky žel. Svou lásku slaví krůži pěl. Růžinu jevil voný vzdech. And let me read the English artistic translation. Whispered of love, the moss is frail. the flowering tree as sweetly lied. The rose's fragrant side replied to love songs of the nightingale. O lásce šeptal tichý mech. Mech šeptal. Mech is moss. Šeptal comes from a beautiful onomatopoeic verb, šeptat. Šeptat is to whisper. Šeptat. So the moss was whispering about love. O lásce. This is the locative. I'm gonna start writing this here. O lásce. We even know that the moss was quiet. Tichý. So the silent moss was whispering about love. Next line. Kvetoucí strom lhal lásky žel. It's a very interesting combination. Lhal lásky. L. Strom lhal. Strom means a tree. Lhal is the verb lhat, which means to lie, as you heard in the English translation. Lhal, lied. The tree lied. Kvetoucí. Kvetoucí means the blooming tree in this case. This is an adjective, so the verb is kvést, to bloom. Kvetoucí, blooming. The blooming tree lied. And then the object of the sentence here is žel. Žel is an archaic form of žal, which means a heartache. Žal. The heartache of love. Again, we have genitive here. Lásky žel. Again, they switched positions. In modern Czech, it would be žal lásky, the heartache of love. Svou lásku Slavík růži pěl. Slavík pěl. Slavík is a nightingale, a bird that sings at night. And pět is a poetic and archaic verb. I don't mean now pět as in 5, but pět is an archaic and poetic form of singing. Pět. Nowadays we use zpívat, but the old one is pět. If you know this, that you might not be surprised why we say zpěvák or zpěvačka, a singer. Pět. Pěl was singing. The nightingale sang. The direct object is lásku. Can you see? This is clear accusative. Láska, lásku. He was singing the love, his love, svou, svou lásku. And who was he singing it to? To a rose. Pěl růži. Růži, this is dative, is an indirect object. The nightingale sang its love to the rose. Růžinu jevil vonný vzdech. Vzdech jevil. Vzdech means a sigh. Vzdech comes from dech, breath. Dech and vzdech. Jevil means something like showing, was displaying. Vonný is describing the word vzdech. Vonný, just from vonět or zavánět. It's something that smells nice. Nice smelling, a fragrant sigh. This is an adjective, vonný. Also very formal. In modern Czech, we often use voňavý. If you want to say that something is fragrant, you would say voňavý. Vonný would be quite archaic, but sounds very poetic. Voňavý. And now the interesting part is, růžino is also a possessive name. The roses. But we are missing the noun. What does it refer to? It refers to láska. So in the previous line we were talking about love and the nightingale's love, who sang about love to the rose, and the rose's love, which is omitted here. Růžinu lásku, we could say. The rose's love was shown by a fragrant sigh, if we translate this literally. And this is all for now. I think that was quite enough. If you're interested in Czech culture, I definitely recommend you to have a look at this poem. You can read it both in English and Czech, and I'm also sure it's translated to other languages. But English is very easily accessed on the internet. And as you can see, the beginning of this poem has very beautiful words and sounds and describes the joy of the nature waking up and the love which is hiding in every corner, in every leaf, in every moss. Enjoy the end of April and the upcoming month of love. Ahoy! Do you enjoy my videos on YouTube? You can support my work on Buy Me a Coffee. Click on the link below the video and make a one-time donation for a price of 1 tea or as many teas as you wish.